Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking about the beach amplifier. The beach amplifier is one of the last amplifiers to talk about, but I need to also go back to Homebase and talk about that as well, right? And furthermore, there's going to be a Devil North update, right? But I do have to do more testing. I have to wait for wave 26, wave 5, and wave 11 for testing on those waves as well, right? For the Devil North to be complete in terms of the testing, right? Homebase North is also going to need to wait for a smasher wave, right? At least for more smasher waves, right? And to see it and verify if it's stable on those waves, right? So a lot of the testing that's required is going to need to wait until I get to the proper waves, right? Fortunately, the builds are decent enough where I can AFK camp behind the valley and just let it run, right? So there's a lot less effort with testing, but I still need to keep running the endurance over and over again repeatedly, right? And the only reason why the camping behind the valley works is because I did some adjustments for certain amps to make sure that the assassin has path towards me, right? And those adjustments, I think many of them are in the descriptions of the respective amplifiers, so make sure that you check the descriptions in the videos that I post for updates, right? And if I miss some updates, then you can try to remind me to put them up, right? Because a lot of the times I do changes in my builds wherein I forget to upload those changes, right? But I will try to do my best for that, right? So as well, I'm going to be using a pop filter for recording now, right? And see if that makes the recording quality a little bit better for you guys, so you don't hear so many pop in here and there, pop, 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 pop. But all right. So the beach amplifier. The beach amplifier, in my opinion, is probably going to be one of the most simpler builds, right? And the reason being is because it's actually very familiar tunneling, right? There's nothing too complicated about the tunneling, so it should be fairly straightforward, right? But there's going to be some little, little minute things that I made to describe as well. So first, let's get into the tunnel, right? So the the beach east is probably the simplest of all the defenses that we're going to do, right? So over here, they're going to spawn over there, and there is also a spawn on that corner there. All right. So for this over here, all we're going to do is just wall this off, just as shown here, right? And put wall launchers all surrounding that. These wall launchers have healing, but you don't need healing, to be honest, right? Those are just there in case that they get attacked for whatever reason, right? Now, the only reason why this one particularly works, right, is because I'm going to be camping on the valley amplifier. So none of the assassin husks are going to path them towards the north, right? However, suppose that if you are using a build which you are AFKing somewhere else and you want this build to work, right, then you would need an assassin tunnel, right? An assassin tunnel, the way you would build that is just as shown here, right, where you just build this, and then you would just surround this with the tar pits and wall launchers, right? And that would be for the assassin tunnel if you are camping on somewhere on the west side or the north side of the map. But since I am going to be camping on the southwest side, I do not need this assassin tunnel at all, right? I'm not even going to be on my beach amplifier, so there's no point of having this, and I might as well just block it off completely. All right, and healing's there. Excuse me. Now, these two wall launchers over here, party zone. These two wall launchers are going to have 2 times impact, single reload with 3 times durability. So these ones are a little bit more durable than the others, and that's just primarily because in case that the beach east gets attacked a little bit more often than usual. Okay. Now, on these walls over here, they're going to be sound walls, right? So these are sound walls, and this is just primarily just to prevent the husks from attacking the wall if they choose to do so for whatever reason. But generally, they should never attack the wall, right? And the floor over here is for the lava bomb shift. So this is the critical floor that you're going to need for the lava bomb shift. And I put in one floor spike here just for a little bit extra crowd control. Behind these walls, there's also going to be 5 tiles over here. 3 of these tiles are for block offs for regular husks, okay? And these 2 over here are for the lobber shield, including the slant, right? So this is a lobber shield, right, to prevent lobbers from hitting adjacent on here, and so that they can fling over, right? And I'm not sure why in the past I did not have these before, and I seem to have some issues with lobbers hitting on the walls. So once I added these, and this seems to solve all those issues, so I just kept them there ever since, right? Now on these 3 walls over here, these are going to be triple impact double reload wall launchers, right? And these are the regular wall launchers everybody uses, and these are just for staggering or launching husks into the pit over here with that wall all across here blocking it, right? And wooden floor spike with 2 tar pits and low half walls over here all across for the smashers, right? On the other side over here, we're going to have a wall launcher over here. I'm using double reload 0 impact, but you can use whatever wall launcher you got, to be honest, right? Because this is going to have a very low density with a very low density on the spawn over here, with usually about netting 15, 10%. Sometimes it doesn't even have it over there, right? Now over here, these are all these wall launchers over here as shown, right? There's going to be 4 of them. They're all going to be triple impact and double reload, right? And the first floor is going to be wooden floor spike and then tar pit, right? Once you have that, and you're going to have low half walls 3 across over here as shown, right? And these are just for, again, smashers, staggering them into the pit. And once you get a husk into the pit, we'll forget about them, and I'll show you why later. Okay. Floor launcher over here, triple impact and double reload. Floor launcher is going to be single reload, quadruple impact, right? So 4 impact on this floor, right? And these wall launchers, again, 3 times impact, double reload, as I just stated. Okay. And now notice over here, I don't have a low half wall over here. Instead, I have a pole, right? And the reason why I have the pole is that when a smasher is in this position over here from the south, which I'll explain later, they will charge over towards this location over here, right? And I'll show you why they charge late as well, right? And when they charge, this would not get destroyed. However, if it was a low half wall over here, then it would get destroyed. The low half wall will get destroyed, but it did not get destroyed when you put a pole. So I'll leave it as a pole. Excuse me. Now, over here, right next to that, there's going to be a little opening, and this opening is for the beach south, right? So this is going to be very critical for the beach south pathing, right? And there's going to be a sound wall over here with a wooden floor spike, right? Now it's important that you have a sound wall and not a different type of crowd control. And the reason being is because if you use a wall light, if you use a wall launcher, these affect the impact of the smashers. And when the impact of the smashers get broken, they stagger. And when they stagger from this tile over here, it seems like they don't charge anymore towards that spot that I really want them to charge. So instead, I opt this into a different crowd control, right? Now this wall launcher over here is this is 0 impact, 0 impact, double reload, 4 times durability, right? And this is just to launch us a little bit over here, right? Just for a little bit more crowd control, so it buys extra time for these launchers to work, right? Now, over here, I'm going to be pathing all the husks from the south into here. So that's why I'm using these little poles. Because this area is going to be extremely high density, because all the husks are pathing here, to prevent phasing through the walls, I'm going to use these poles. Right? So there's going to be 3 poles over here to prevent phasing through the walls. Right? Okay. And once you have that, you should be good to go. Now, all around this walls over here, and then we're going to have these walls over here. 1, 2, 3. Right? And this is just for a little diagonal pathing towards the northeast over here. And this wall launcher is going to I have healing over here, and I also have healing over here. This is primarily for the lobbers that occasionally just want to bang on their walls, right? And this wall in particular likes to get banged on for the lobbers, but they don't do enough damage where it becomes a threat. And this is actually more than enough to prevent them from destroying the wall, from my testing at least, right? With the healing perk on the wall launcher. Okay, and I'll explain block cloths as well shortly. Alright, so on the very front over here on the south side, right, there's going to be a block off, and there's going to be an assassin tunnel. Primarily, the assassin tunnel is going to be used for the flingers, right? But other husks can also use it too. Now, all across these walls over here, there's going to be triple impact, double reload, triple impact, double reload, triple impact, double reload. This is going to be a 4 times impact, single reload on this wall over here, right? Because the launch distance over here is a little bit more for the flingers. Okay, and of course we're going to be using 2 tar pits, right? So once we have that, the assassin tunnel should be pretty much good to go, right? And to ensure that this tile over here doesn't get destroyed, we have a little diamond piece over here, right? A diamond piece over here, it's going to be very important. Okay. To also ensure that these are all double layered over here, right? As shown here. So behind these walls, there's going to be walls over here, right? And there's going to be floor launchers in here. So the reason why I have these floor launchers in there, right, which is like, why do you have floor launchers in there? It's because the husks do phase, particularly flingers, right? So sometimes the flingers would phase through these walls, and there's nothing I can do about it when they do. So the only thing I can do is to have a tunnel for the phasing flingers, right? Now, if you don't have this assassin tunnel over here, right? So suppose you block this off completely, right? Suppose you block this assassin tunnel completely. What ends up happening from what I notice is that the flingers start phasing through your main tunnel, and that's also bad. So this assassin tunnel is actually just to prevent phasing from happening. I really don't like the phasing from happening, and so far this is the best approach that I got for the phasing, is to literally have an assassin tunnel for that. Don't block it off and think that it's going to be okay. Yes, it'll be okay for regular husks, but when it comes to assassin husks, particularly flingers, they don't like this at all, right? Excuse me. Now, to also ensure as well that the flingers don't fling, we have a little lobber shield over here, right? So to build a lobber shield, from the 3 wall launchers, build slants right behind that, and build 5 slants across from that over here as shown, right? So once you have that, you should be good to go. Alright, and yes, they can fling from here, they can fling from here, and they can fling from here, right? And this is approaching that approaching the really edge of the flinger range, right? And when they approach the really edge on the flinger range, it's actually rare for them to fling, but they can fling. So this is a spot that they can fling, and I've seen it happen, but it is rare. Right? It's one of those rare spots, and it's rare enough where they'll just fling once and then they'll stop, right? But when it comes to these spots over here, yeah, they'll constantly fling. So it depends on the range of the flinger. If they're just close enough, they would do the constant fling. But if they're right on the edge, they could just fling once and then they'll just forget. Right? And I want to really ensure that my amps don't take any damage whatsoever, right? And reduces those chances. Okay. Now, in general, to keep the husks to pathing this way, especially the smashers, we need to have a minimum of 6 layers, right? So this is 1 layer over here with all the walls. This is 2 layers with the slant and the walls across here. This is 3 layers in here, 1, 2, 3. So that's a total of 5 layers. And this is the final layer over here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is right over here. This is the final layer, right? And this over here, actually inside, is actually for the Wamp amplifier. So when the Wamp gets attacked, the assassin husks do path through my beach amplifier, which I have arches for, which I'll explain the beach amp design shortly. And once they path through the beach, and then they'll attack these walls over here to try to get to me when I'm camping on the valley amplifier, right? So these are just to zap them over here, right? And this is a kind of a cheapish way to build for that. Is it just zap their butts and be good, right? Now that's a total of 6 layers over here, so this is enough for that. Okay. Excuse me. Now let's talk about the block offs, right? So the block offs over here are going to be a little bit big, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. Okay. So we're going to have a flat floor underneath with a pyramid on top, right? Once you have that, you are going to have walls all surrounding each corner, right? And then once you build that, then we're going to have little sandwiches all across here, right? So you can see there's 5 sandwiches over here. Well, actually 6, right? So 6 sandwiches all across here. And this wall is going to be open on this side, right? So this wall over here can be open, and that's perfectly fine because they do have to path around, right? And that's going to act as additional layer when they have to path around. Okay. So once you have that, and then over here, we're going to have a slant facing the southeast, right? And we're going to have a sandwich over here, full sandwich all around here, okay? And there's going to be 4 tiles over here, right? So just mark it, 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are going to have full sandwiches all the way across. So you can see there's just sandwiches all the way across facing the southeast, right? And we don't have walls on the terrain over here because these are unneeded, right? For my testing, these are completely unneeded. Now going back to the south block off over here, inside there's going to be a more block off. So stair, wall, stair, and then wall over here, right? And that should conclude this area over here. And inside this layer over here, right? Inside this layer over here, we're going to have a stair and a wall, right? Stair and a wall. And then behind that, there's going to be a sandwich, right? So there's going to be a wall, slant, and a wall. And there's going to be a slant across here, right? So you can see from this angle of how it looks, right? Okay. And that should be the block off for the beach in general. Okay. Now, for the excuse me, for the amp design, right? So normally for amp designs, I usually just have walls all surrounding the amplifier and having a roof with some slants here and there, right? But in this particular case, I actually want arches. So the arches, the purpose of the arches, right, is so that the smashers don't charge, right? So if this was a flat wall over here, right, what's going to end up happening, not all the time, but it can happen, is that the smasher will path over here normally, and they start charging. They start charging right straight towards the amplifier facing west over here, right? Because this is a wall tile that they can charge. But as soon as you change this to an arch, they can no longer charge it, right? So that's why these three tiles are going to have arches, because it'll prevent the smashers from charging straight west, right? And we want them to charge consistently on the northwest, right? That's what we want. Okay. Now on the south over here, we're going to have a slant over here connecting to the amplifier, right? So this is going to act as additional layering. Well, not additional layering, sorry. It's going to add additional tiles because we need a certain amount of tiles on the amplifier for it to remain stable, right? And I usually overbuild these amplifiers, not because it's necessary, but it's because of the mini bosses that can destroy it. So suppose if this gets attacked wave 5 or wave 16, which have mini bosses, right? And I'm not there on the amplifier to deal with mini bosses and they're just going to beat on the walls. I need to have sufficient structures so that after the mini boss is dead, if it gets attacked again, it's still okay, right? So that's why I have that there. All right. And the mini bosses are going to be very, very crucial for me to pass, right? Because I do need to have sufficient. I need to overbuild the amplifiers, right? So now on the very west of the amplifier, we're going to have 3 walls all surrounding this, right? And then these are going to have additional tiles on the west side, right? So we're going to have 3 more walls surrounding that with the slants, right? And this is just acting as additional tiles for the mini bosses, right? Okay. And on the northeast corner, we're going to have walls all surrounding that with the slant facing northeast, right? Okay. And we're going to also have a roof over here, right? And I have a healing pad over here, and this is mainly if on wave 27 there's a mini boss and for some reason I want to deal with it, right? And then I can use the healing pad to my advantage to help heal, right? I mean, it's not a ton, but it does help. It does help, right? Especially if I'm not using a ninja with the smoke screen and healing fumes, right? Okay. Now in front of the amplifier, just east of that, this is very critical to have these walls over here. This is very critical, whether you're AFKing or not, right? So it's very critical that you have these 2 walls over here, right? And this is for the flingers and lobbers, right? So this is actually for flinger and lobber protection, right? And this is also for flinger and lobber protection. Excuse me, right? Okay. And then you notice that I have this quarter floor over here. This is also to help encourage the smasher to charge over here, right? And then we have walls all facing this way over here to block the launch so that they launch into the pit. So they don't launch on the other side if it's one of the weaker husks, like the little husklings. All right. So once we have that, and I'm going to talk about the lobber shield, right? So the best way to describe a lobber shield, I think, is to actually break this up into sections, right? It's a little bit weak, it's a little bit big. All right. So I'm going to break it up into section 1 and section 2 over there, right? Separating from the wood pieces, right? So first we have the flat floor over here, right? We're going to build 4 rows like this, right? And then we're gonna build the 5 rows like this, right? So build 4 like this, and build 5 like this, right? Once you have that, face the other side, we're gonna build 5 the other way. So build 5 facing down, right? And it's very critical that we face down. And the reason being is because if the lobber shield is too high, the flingers and lobbers will start throwing from the pit, right? Because it's gonna be just too high for there. Right? So we need to face it down, then we start curving back up, all right? And the reason why I curve it up is because this is acting as the helping for the floor launchers, right? So they can launch all the way up, right? Into over here or into over here, right? All right. So once we have that design, right? We fit 5 facing down, and then we're gonna go 5 facing up again, 5 facing up, and then 2 across from the corner there, right? So once we have that, we can move on, right? I'm gonna keep these here. Now, once we build that, I'm gonna go to this southeast side, right? So this southeast side, I'm gonna do it by the Z levels, right? I'm gonna do it by Z levels. So first, we're gonna build this little corner like this, right? This using this piece over here in this corner, and then we're gonna start with the first level, right? So the first level over here, we're gonna build a slant like this, and curve it up like shown over here, right? So build those 2 first. Right, so these are the first 3 you're going to build, and then you start curving it this way, curve it that way, curve it this way, and curve it as shown here. And this is actually acting, this is actually part of the terrain. So you see how it's matching the terrain exactly how shown, right? And that's what you're going to do, right? So that's the first level over here. Next, we're going to build the second level, right? So the second level over here, I'm going to start on this side, right? So curve it up like this, and then just keep curving it up. Just keep curving it up like that, right? So you can see that it'll just follow the pattern, right? Just follow the pattern over here, right? I'm not making anything flat over here. I just keep on curving back up, right? So this would increase the surface area that I can cover, right? So I want to maximize the surface area that I can cover with the lobber shield. Excuse me. So when we build that all the way across over here, right? And once you build that across over here, what we're going to end up doing is that this is going to curve over here, right? So this is going to curve down here. So you can see, this is going to curve down here, right? This is very important that it curves down just so that it can connect all the pieces. All right. And then finally, once you have this piece built over here, and then just build all the way across like that. This is a kind of a weird lobber shield to explain, right? So I'm hoping that you guys can get it. All right, and then we have to build the final row. So build the last 2 up there, as shown. So build those last 2, and then curve up over here and build those 5 tiles over there. Finally, you build that little pointy thing up there, right? And you should have a lobber shield, right? Let me do Kunai Storm one more time just to make sure. Right, so you should have a lobber shield looking something like this, right? And you really want to make sure you try to copy it as best as you can, or have a pretty big lobber shield, one of those. And I think the most important thing, whatever lobber shield you do design, right, is to know the flinger spots, right? So I'm going to mark the flinger spots, right? At the edge at least. So these are flinger spots over here. These are all flinger spots over here. These are also flinger spots over here. So they can fling from over here as well. And I think over here on this position, I'm pretty sure on this position they can fling, right? So this position they can fling from. And then it starts curving down over here, right? Where they can start flinging from here. So this all the way over here, they can start flinging all the way over here. Okay? And then they can fling from down here. Right? Oops, not over there. So they can fling over here, they can fling here, here, all the way across, right? I'm not sure about this spot. I haven't seen, yeah, all the way over here. So you have to make sure that you follow this all the way through, right? So that's why I have such a big lobber shield. Again, a lot of these flinger spots, they're going to be kind of rare, right? Because they're on the edge. So when they're on the edge of that flinger range, they generally just fling once, and then that's it, and then they'll keep moving on, right? But if you have this exact lobber shield, you should get 0 flingers, right? I've literally gotten 0 flingers, right? Getting through, right? But it's a big lobber shield, but this is the way I do it to ensure that literally no flingers would ever get over here. As well, the flingers, at least on the south side, tend to go over to the flinger pathing over here, right? And this flinger pathing over here also works for the valley amplifier. Alright, so we got that covered, and there's also one more important thing to talk about, which is going to make the build from good to awesome, right? And it's this over here. So once they get launched in the pit, right? So what you can do, which is optional, right? You don't have to do this. If you don't do it, it actually saves you a lot of structures. But if you do this, this would make the build really good, right? And even this is kind of like the prison area, right? Like kind of similar concept to the prison build I had in the Ridge video, right? Where pretty much you just launch the husk into a certain area and trap them, and your build is forever good to go, right? So yeah, they're gonna path over here, and then these launchers are just gonna launch them back, and then they're just gonna keep on getting stuck here over and over again, right? And this also includes for the smashers, right? Which is unlike the Ridge build. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna put a full sandwich over here to block them off, right? To ensure they don't path the west. The pyramid over here, there is no floor tile under here, no floor tile, and then walls over here. And then slant wall, right? That's it. So this area over here should have a total of 7 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whereas the just one tile south of that is gonna have five layers, and then one tile south of that over here, which is just gonna have 3 layers, right? So you can see over here, once they break this corner, then that should be fine. Right? Actually, sorry, that tile is only 4 layers, right? So it's only 4 layers. But yeah, it should be good to go for that. Alright, and I think that's pretty much everything for the beach amplifier, right? This build is, in general, shouldn't be too complicated, right? But there's going to be little minute things that are going to be, is going to make the build really good. Like having a really good lobber shield is probably one thing that's going to make this build really stable for flingers and lobbers, right? So you don't have, oh, where'd that flinger come from? Oh. Right? You want a perfect amp, that's the lobber shield that you probably want, right? The jail area that I just explained over there, that also makes the build really good, but to be honest, it is optional. If you don't have it, you would have to build a little bit more in this area, right? But it is doable for sure, right? It is definitely doable. Alright, and yeah, I think that's it overall for the beach video, right? I hope this video wasn't too long, but I think it ended up being one of those half-an-hour videos, which I usually make anyway. But yeah, go have fun building, guys.